I reckon there is an answer. Like,
do.
is there a God argument? Actually,
Why are you getting all religious?
I don't know. I'm just trying to think because I don't think there's absolutes, and there is no absolute to is there a God.
Yeah, but that's not the same.
Should we bring
as
back the death penalty?
shaft talk.
No. Oh, I've lost my thought. No, it's. You're saying there is an answer somewhere.
I believe
and we're not
there
trying
is.
hard enough to find it. Hello, welcome to an episode of Kickpoint, the Golf Gear Show. Thank you for joining us for another week of equipment, chat, and waffle. I'm joined. Hello, Joe.
Hello, Dan.
How you doing, mate?
I'm all right.
I do enjoy our weeks together.
Yeah, I'm bracing myself. I've got a big rant ready for this preamble.
Okay, well, there we go then. Thank you for joining us. If you've battled through the last two very long episodes, let us know if that's okay. They were long, weren't they, Joe? I enjoyed them. I think they were good episodes.
I enjoyed doing them.
I love
We
it.
just need some feedback. Is it too long? We're going like over an hour. We're pushed an hour and a half.
It's a film.
Do people have the time to do this? Or do you want us to just do what we do, but just,
Shut up.
Just shrink it, not shut up. Shut up would be a really bad podcast. So just, let us know. I'd be interested to know.
Welcome to Shut Up, the golf equipment show. Just sit in silence.
Correct.
So welcome in. Thank you for joining us. As always, we appreciate your company very much. This week, Joe, Minwoo Lee's the What's in the Bag.
The chef, what's he cooking in there? We'll find out.
The flusher. The cool board's back. As always, again, we've had no feedback on this from either the reader, it's not reading this, the listener or the viewer, because we film these in bulk and we've done 3 in a row now. So you could be hating this, you could be loving it. The big bosses might have fired us by now for offending too many people. Who knows? But it's back. Better than ever. It's the same.
I don't know what we're ranking.
Which I enjoy very, very much. And then there's your rant at the start. And the preamble, which is now an official section.
Yes.
But Joe, this episode the whole episode's been sponsored. We have a new sponsor on board and changes on set, Joseph. What's behind you there and what's behind me?
Got a big Cleveland tour bag.
I've got a little
Srixon Den Caddy.
Another Den Caddy. So thank you to Srixon for sponsoring this episode, Joe. They've not given us a formal ad read, so we're going to riff. Are you ready to riff?
Yeah, let's riff.
Z Series clubs, talk to me.
Really good.
Okay, anything more than that?
Yeah, really
really good.
Did a full launch ep on the Srixon stuff from this year, didn't we? And I said in it, and I stand by it, it's one of the few companies you'd just be ecstatic. A full bag there, like everything from driver, the fairway, the hybrid, the utility iron, the ZXU, the ZXi, not the ZXU. Yes, we've been down that route before.
Funny,
and particularly the irons, and they're always good, but they are exceptional. So yeah, really pleased. It's nice to have a full episode sponsor, and it's really nice when not that we don't with other products, but it's really nice when you've got a real genuine liking for something you're talking about,
isn't it? Here's one for you, Joe. Srixon are offering a 30-day satisfaction guarantee on any of their 3 new driver models. If you're not 100% satisfied, bring your driver and original sales receipt back to the place of purchase within 30 days. And that's, I've never hit a Srixon club before, which is crazy. I've had Cleveland wedges a while back now. And maybe some people at home listening and watching haven't hit it before, don't see it as a TaylorMade, a Callaway, a Ping, a Titleist, and want to try it with no risk. There it is. And there is no risk because it's good.
It's a brand, isn't it, that often comes out. When you see those little social videos, what's the most underrated brand in golf? Srixon is always mentioned, but I think it's elevating itself further than that, just being like that sort of underrated alternative choice. It's just brilliant. And look at the tour validation.
Let's
and
do
the
some
wind
tour
that's
chat.
been
Let's
going
do
on.
some tour chat with the Z-Star ball, Joe. Hideki Matsuyama, Z-Star XV, Kapalua. Sepp Straka, Z-Star XV, I always get this one wrong. ZXi5 and 7 combo set.
Yeah.
RTZ wedges, wins the Amex.
Strong.
5th in the FedEx Cup this year. So
Good.
that was pre-Masters that. But anyway, Shane Lowry, top 20 in the FedEx Cup standings is Z-Star XV. Andrew Novak as well, 2nd in the Heritage Losers Playoff.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's a bit of momentum on tour for him, is what I'm saying. Those are 4 guys who are right in it every week.
You're only mentioning PGA Tour there, I think, as well. I don't have the stats to hand, but I was looking at
fantastic, no stats.
No, but I was looking at every little... we get some releases from DP World Tour. There's someone who looks after the equipment there, and it seemed every week from the start of the year, it was Srixon. It's getting serious momentum, really high-quality product, and I think 2025 is the best year, genuinely, I think the best year ever for Srixon.
I love it. Good. Last one on you, because we've got to talk Cleveland as well. RTZ wedge, when we first saw it, clean. The manufacturers at Cleveland, because we've not done this on the pod yet because Sam Diatet sold wedges, but they basically said they weren't happy with the constraints of the materials that had already been discovered by man on Earth.
Okay.
They weren't happy. They were like, there's compromises here. So they were like, you know what, F this.
Yeah.
We're going to create our own. A brand new carbon steel formula, Joe. So there were no constraints on what they wanted to do with a wedge, and they come up with the RTZ. How about that?
Very
Love
good.
that.
Yeah, really cool. Do you know what planet it came from? Any confirmation there?
They weren't allowed to say. How about that?
How about that for you?
Earth. I can't be. It was Earth.
Have you seen the Roger Cleveland video?
Yes.
Oh, that's inspiring. It was a big little social campaign, wasn't there? Where Roger's back.
He's
back in the workshop grinding away, and that is. I just loved it. I loved the nostalgia of that. It was a really cool little vid.
Now, our correspondent at Strixon gave us a sort of website to plug because you got to go and find it somewhere. It's not the friendliest, and he'll say this to us, not the friendliest website in the world, name-wise. It doesn't roll off the tongue. For those in the EU and the UK and Ireland, eu.dunlopsports.com/Strixon. Just Google Strixon. You'll be able to find it. You know where to go. So thank you, Strixon, for sponsoring this episode and giving us some nice new stuff in the set. Right, Joe. It's time for your favourite part of the show that wasn't a part of the show because I tried to make it more natural, but you made it a part of the show. And now we have a jingle. It's the preamble.
All about segments.
Have you got it ready?
Of course I've got it ready.
This is Joe's new favourite thing. Yeah.
There we go.
Rubbish.
Into my favourite section.
Rubbish.
The preamble.
Please, if you know how to work a jingle machine or whatever that is, we want a better one than that.
That's how
I
you
don't
work
need. If I have to hear from her one more time,
that is how you work.
She's going to come between you and me if we're lucky. Right, you want to have a rant, and I'm ready to hear it.
Golf industry is a complete mess. The equipment industry is a total mess.
Loses for us as equipment podcast.
Well, we need to be part of the solution. I can identify the problem, and I'd like to identify a solution as well. I want to know what we're doing. It's a shambles. I don't know what to believe, and I don't know how other people are working this out. And what I mean is, I don't know, and I could be wrong here, and I'll get a million examples in the comments telling me what a loser I am, how much they hate my family, all sorts of things, because that's how social media works. But I don't know. I can't think of another industry where there's such a lack of consensus over so many of the facts and the truths and the measurements of the industry. There seems to be no consensus. There seems to be just opinions all over the place.
What's wrong with opinions?
There's nothing wrong with opinions, but when it's to do with potentially very easily quantifiable stuff and very easily standardized stuff, and let me explain.
I need some examples here. You've nearly lost me here.
Right. So many industry-leading fitters and builders will tell you that swing weight is absolutely essential to get right. And we know swing weight is a measure of the balance of the club, where the weight is distributed in terms of head to grip, where the balance point of that club is. Other people in the industry, equally expert, equally like someone like a Mike Taylor who made Tiger's irons for many years, one of the most expert, that was a tough one, wasn't it? Expert club builders and fitters in the world. He doesn't believe in swing weight at all. It's not that he necessarily doesn't believe in it, but he sees it very much as a result of other factors. The weight of the components that you use will just result in a swing weight, and that shouldn't be manipulated or controlled. He's always saying that total weight is the key. The total weight of the object that you're moving around your body is far more important than the balance of it, where that weight is distributed. That's what he believes. So we don't know which is true. It's just opinion based. Think of the putter industry. So Titleist, Ping, many others have consistently told us that toe hang putters suit those with a pronounced arc, and face balance putters suit more square to square styles or less arcing styles. Lab come along with a zero torque option or lie angle balance, whatever you want to talk about, which is suggesting that that's complete nonsense and that zero torque is the way and will match to the different arcs of stroke. And in fact, not only is the fact that different toe hangs and face balance should suit different strokes, they're suggesting that what's been said before is completely wrong. Dan's just turning off some flickering lights behind us. I was told, in my understanding in the industry for a long, long time with putters, was that those toe hangs would close and rotate shut more easily, which is what Tiger Woods used to tell me why he liked a toe hang putter, because he liked to feel not specifically, secondhand, he liked to feel the toe rotating through the stroke, whereas a lot of people now are telling us that in transition on a toe hang putter, that it will actually open rather than close. LA Golf are now telling us that standardized curvature on club faces is nonsense, that club faces should have different levels of curvature in terms of their bulge and roll to match different swing speeds, because they will react differently at different speeds. Some manufacturers, I've got loads of these, some manufacturers will tell you that flex is the most important part of the shaft, and club builders and club fitters and experts, flex is absolutely key. Others will tell you that weight is which is my take on it. I believe weight is more important in shaft. Some other people, I spoke to Tom Bailey at Avoda, he thinks weight and flex are not completely redundant, but by far and away in his testing, the biggest effect on downrange performance is the overall profile of the shaft, where it bends, where its kick point is. So nothing to do with weight, nothing to do with flex. I'll keep going. Some builders are telling you that puring is essential to make a shaft perform optimally. Spine aligning. Others are telling us, and even I was told for years that Tiger big into puring, and he can tell the difference between a pured and non-pured shaft. I watched him with my own eyes on Trotty's What's in the Bag the other day, saying no, he doesn't do puring, not interested. Not what I've heard from the industry for years. Technique. Some people are saying use the bounce when you chip in. Some people say hands forward, drive it.
Okay.
I've got.
Do you want to keep going? I get the argument. More.
Some manufacturers cut to the end of the grip. Some manufacturers use a finished length.
Yeah.
Some manufacturers or custom fitting. I was told on my PGA training that if someone is hitting out of the toe in an iron with a custom fitting, you have to lengthen the club to get strike more central, when it could be nothing to do with that. It could be lie angle, could be shaft profile, it could be any number of things. Some people, I'm going to stop. What I'm basically saying
what's your arguing sentence?
My arguing sentence is, how on earth are newcomers to the game or even experienced players supposed to decipher all of these conflicting, contrasting statements and opinions that should, in theory, after so many years, be able to be made into facts and statements? Like, for example, other industries. I don't see the clothing industry coming out there and Zara saying, as opposed to Marks & Spencer saying, fleece is a really cooling and breathable material and we should make all our T-shirts from fleece. Because that's just nonsense. We know that it's not true. So the general consensus in the fashion industry that fleece will be used for warm weather, keep you warm, keep you insulated clothing. I don't see some car manufacturers trying to convince me that soft top convertible roofs will keep me drier when they're open, because they won't. They'll make me wetter when it rains. We don't seem to have many of these facts in golf.
Can I add a few rebuttals to this?
Go on.
Because I broadly agree with you. It's a very confusing world, even for people like you who've been in the world for a long time and are very clever and understand things. Only golf for you, but that's fine. Okay, one.
Yeah.
This feels like quite a young thought process. Swing weight, the technology that's come on. We haven't had 70, 80 years.
Nonsense. Swing weight's been around at least 70, 80 years.
Even the things that measure it all and the theories behind it have been the same for 70 or 80 years.
Pretty much, more like it.
Okay, fine.
Let me find it out.
Okay, well, that's fine. I'm asking you questions, and that's a fair rebuttal in this debate.
Yeah.
Two, why do you feel, and do we need absolutes? Why do you feel we need absolutes in
100 years, by the way, 1920s swing weight came about.
That's fine. I think
in your face.
You win that one,
Thank
buddy.
You.
Well
1-0 Big Joey.
1-0 Joe. Oh, we're on camera.
Sorry.
I lost my train of thought now.
Good.
No. Why do you feel we need absolutes? So one example you did was, which is more important, swing weight or total weight? Why do you feel the industry needs to come to a place where one of those is the consensus? Why can't it be an art, an interpretation? Some people think this and they come out with this. Some people, I like to paint with red, but he likes to paint with blue. We both make lovely paintings using our red and blue. Why do you feel it needs to be an absolute?
Just for ease of understanding, we've got such a complex game, both from a technique point of view and an equipment point of view. A lot of people find golf intimidating in many ways, whether that's barriers to entry from dress codes or class or money or snobbery or whatever that might be. And I think another barrier to entry
His
shouldn't
swing
be
weight.
his swing weight, 100%. Shouldn't be confusion around what on earth sort of clubs am I supposed to play? Like, how do I, and I know I'm sort of making that back down to beginner and entry level stuff, but I'm even talking to the development of intermediate and skilled players. What do you believe? Like where and how do you?
Can't you choose? And then you like it's like philosophy. But it's like philosophies, isn't it? I choose to believe that. I choose to believe there is a God. You don't choose to believe there's a God. We both live our lives parallel to one another and get on at the end of it. I believe it's swing weight. You believe it's total weight. I like to use the bounce of a wedge. You don't like to use the bounce of a wedge. I like the art of the golf swing and the art of building clubs. We wouldn't have a podcast if it wasn't so interesting.
I don't mind that take. But I think a lot of the stuff that I'm mentioning is through study is solvable. I think you could find out
there is an answer. You reckon
more.
there is an answer? Like, is there? It's like is there a God argument? Actually,
why are you getting all religious?
I don't know. I'm just trying to think because I don't think there's absolutes, and there is no absolute to is there a God.
Yeah, but that's not the same.
Should we bring
as
back the death penalty?
Shaft talk.
No. Oh, I've lost my thought. No, it's. You're saying there is an answer somewhere.
I believe
and we're not
there
trying
is.
hard enough to find it.
And I think there's a lot. It's shrouded in a lot of mystery, and there's a lack of standardization of measurements and testing procedures. Like so many. I mean, Loft and Lie is a bad example, but there's a lot of Loft and Lie machines that measure differently. But that's another story. But for example, in shaft torque. There's no standardized way of measuring shaft torque. We know you apply a force to a shaft and measure its resistance to that twisting, and that'll come up with a number. But there's no standardized measurement for how much force you're supposed to put into it. And each manufacturer will do that differently. So when it says 5 degrees of torque on that shaft with Fuji versus Mitsubishi or whoever, there could be 3 degrees difference in that actual measurement based on that. That doesn't make any sense to me. It could be easily you could easily figure out, I think, or could you, over a wide variety of players, what you consistently see the most difference in performance in between altering a player's flex, a player's weight, or a player's profile. Now, many people, and I hear this phrase all the time in golf, and it might just be how it is, but I find it so annoying because it's such an easy cop-out when people don't know the answer to things, and you can do it in any fitting. Say it's the weight, flex, torque question or whatever it might be. Oh, it's very player dependent.
Is that not it, though?
Say that to it for anything.
But is that not actually it? The golf swing's quite different and complex.
You can. I just don't know that I fully buy it. And I think people have been fed that for so long that they're starting to want to believe it just because it's easier. I get it. It's easier if the whole industry just sits back and just goes, well, it's player dependent. Let's just carry on as it is. It's like the status quo. You don't like the status quo, do you? I don't. And my sort of lab rant that led to a lot of comments on a social clip ages ago around, I think to me, logically, that's the correct way to build a putter. Why would you want something to rotate away from square? That doesn't make any sense to me. Simon from Precision Golf and a couple of others, JJ, James Jankowski, a putting coach, he's saying, well, no, loads of people have different acceleration profiles and rates of closure, and they need to match that up with the correct level of torque and toe hang and stuff in their putters. You can look at it like that, and I would just suggest that personally, if you just went into a lab, and someone said to me, Simon said, well, if I had a lab putter because of my acceleration profile, I would just miss everything left. And I was like, okay, well, if you just putt with something that doesn't move away from square for a bit, maybe your acceleration profile would adapt to the more efficient and correct technology instead of we're just masking all these sort of different problems with different clubs. I don't know. Maybe I'm after a master race here. I don't know. What am I after? I don't know.
That was going to be my exact next question. What the F are you after here? Because it's like you want everything to be total and absolutes, and you can't get that. Everyone uses the driver because this is the driver. This is government apply. It's in communist Russia.
I fully accept that other people are going to like different looks, different feels. There's nuances within all these things. I'm not suggesting we have one standard issue driver. There are all those nuances of looks, feel, how it makes you feel, that kind of stuff. But some of the stuff I've mentioned, I think there's so many different opinions that makes it so confusing for so many people on how to do so many things and where do you start and where do you start? You just said, you just got to pick, you got to pick your beliefs and, you got to pick what you think. Well, where do you start to even formulate those beliefs? If you don't have access to the testing and the launch monitors and the research and development, how do you know whether to believe Simon at Precision Golf, who's done 4 billion fits this year and has seen more stuff than probably the most people in golf, who believe swing weight is critical, versus the guy that built and fitted Tiger Woods for many years, the greatest golfer of all time? How do you decide which one of those is credible?
You just choose which person you like.
I'll put your finger in the air and take your pick.
Why are some people Buddhist and why are some people Christian?
Well, let's not get into that.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you pick what you believe and you go with it, and your opinion can change. It's the art of building golf clubs. It's the art of golf. It's why we love the game. It's why we love talking about equipment. I don't love your argument of trying to standardize everything. I get it from a practical ADHD brain point of view, trying to organize everything. So this is this and this is this. But you should know better that isn't the way. There are areas where it could be, and there are areas where we should keep it all loose and vibes and feels. Yeah, can we agree on a medium there?
Loosey-goosey, shrouded in mystery with no answers.
So shaft torque should be standardized. Isn't shaft flex the same?
Nope.
Exactly.
There's no good way of measuring shaft flex.
So that's fine. Let's agree on a few things because we're going to be angry at. Let's standardize the way shaft flex is measured. Tick.
Yeah, but how do you do that?
Let's figure it out. I don't know. But pay some scientists something. I don't know. Yeah. Well, this is why it hasn't been done. No one cares.
Same with torque. Yeah. You need a standard measurement of pressure that has to be applied to measure torque.
What else do you want to do? Dream world, all the money in the world. You get some scientists at Loughborough to just beaver away for years. We'll be long dead by this gets figured out.
I want to have an extensive study to find out what makes most difference. So I don't even know how experiments work. You've got to get a player, change one thing at a time, change his variable of lie angle, change the variable, then measure what he does with his shot patterns, then change the variable of length, then change the variable of shaft weight, then change the torque, and then find out what happens downrange to that player. Repeat with different types of player, different styles of player. Have a proper in-depth research into the findings of those studies and get some answers. Stop just going, it's player dependent.
That was the vaguest sentence you've ever said. Get some players and do some studies and we'll figure it all out. What does that mean?
It means you do a wide cross-section of players.
You're saying words.
No, these mean things. A wide cross-section of players.
Doing what?
Hitting shots, testing.
What are you trying to figure out?
Different variables of golf equipment. So changing
person.
Yes, you get right.
So by the end of it,
break it down for you simply.
Yeah, please.
So you come into the bay, you hit 20 shots with a certain club. We change your length. We then get you hitting 20 more. Then we measure, see what happened to your speed, see what happened to your dispersion. Then we put the length back, but then we change the lie angle, remeasure. Then we keep changing
and
variables.
What's the end result?
You'll get your data. We'll do that 1,000 times.
For 1,000 people.
Yeah. So we've got a broad cross-section of players. Then the clever people will go in, put all that data together and see which parameters did what and made what difference to, and then they'll break it down into categories. It made this difference to high-speed players, this difference to low-speed, and break it all down and have a proper inquiry and get some answers to the whole puzzle and stop just going, it's player dependent, isn't it? Because it just makes jobs so easy.
We need a government inquiry into this.
We do. Where's Leveson?
So by the end of it, you'd have, I'd never need to be fit. I am 5'11". I swing my 7-iron at 85 miles an hour, and my wrist to floor is this, and these are my clubs. No, so what is this study going to change in the world?
This study is going to tell us what the most important factors in. It's not going to tell you that if you're this size, this works for you. You're still going to, different things are going to work for different people.
Yeah.
But we'll know the answers to what has most effects. So fitters will know where to start. So some fitters in a fitting, you'll go in and you'll hit. Cool, I'm ranting. You'll go into a fit and you'll be hitting a certain shot. You come from fitting with me, I might rectify that with lie angle because I think lie angle has a great play. You go to someone else, he's going to go, his shaft's too soft for him here, so I'm going to stiffen that shaft up. Someone else is going to go, his posture's causing this swing flaw, which is why he's hitting that shot. I'm going to lengthen this club. So you go to 3 different people, you're going to have 3 different, because everyone's got different opinions and you're just relying on the person in front of you because there's no facts.
Yes, no, I'm on board now. all the art, all the philosophy, and let's actually have. I'm on board.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. So then, when you do go to a fitting, there's still all the fitting, and it could be with anyone in the country or in the world, but they will all start with, for example, lie angle, because all the boffins in that weird test you just did decided that the data said lie angle, and they'll all start with lie angle, and then the next was shaft weight, so they'll next do shaft weight. And that's what you want.
And we'll stop relying on. So I speak to Tom Bailey at Avoda, who tells me he's been using Flight Scope, and there's a particular section on Flight Scope that he's discovered in his mind that profile of shaft has way more effect than flex or weight on the actual performance and dispersion and spin rates and all these different factors. He thinks that, and he thinks he's got the evidence for that. Simon at Precision Golf has been fitting for years with TrackMan, thinks that flex is almost completely irrelevant and profile has got something to do with it, but weight is absolutely key. The weight of the object you're moving around your body is absolutely critical.
And you want rid of that.
So Tom would change your profile. Simon would change your weight. I might think, he needs to stiffen this up, I'll tip it or something like that. And surely, after all this time, there's a way to figure out what is actually right and just stop relying on the whim of the person in front of you that day. That's what I'm getting at.
There we go.
Idiot.
Everyone all right? I'm not bringing Haribos in ever again. We're both amped up.
You absolute buffoon.
So, but what if there isn't?
Oh, here we go.
What if when you do that big test with the thousands of people and the boffins all go, they go, what if even the boffins go, the data's inconclusive? You're then just effed.
Fine.
Yeah.
No.
But then you're happy because you know that
I'm happy, yeah. I'm like, that's what this whole religion and atheism row is like, you just...
row.
It's a thing, isn't it? I'm not after... I need to know. If the answer is, we just can't know.
Yeah. Which is religion. We can never know.
Yeah.
Some people choose to, some people don't.
If that is the answer, then I'm cool. I don't see that it's been, for the multi-billion-dollar industry that golf equipment is, it feels like there's a lot of conjecture, opinion, player dependent.
That is in the manufacturer's favour to have all of this,
isn't it? Of course it is, yeah. Of course it is. And some people even bounce on wedges. Like, some people are suggesting that a lot of the bounce numbers you see on a wedge are complete nonsense. So like a 4-degree Vokey or Opus wedge or whatever. Some people say, well, if you put that on an actual bounce measuring machine, they've got like 18. So, but they're measuring on a certain part of the bounce to create what they want it to say on the bottom. Again, not standardized. Like it can be the low bounce within you. So how are you supposed to get a wedge? How are you supposed to get a wedge that matches one? I liked my 4-degree bouncy and Vokey, so I want that from Caliber. They measure them differently. So how are you supposed to be able to create the consistency in what you want when there's no standardization of how things are done?
Totally. Get me the fucking board now. Come on, let's do it.
Are we all right?
No, thank you. I enjoyed that, Joe.
That was good.
It's time for the call board. Otherwise, we're going to be in an hour and a half episode. What, 30 minutes?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay, cool.
Let us know what you think. Kickpointpodcast@future.com. Thank you, Ria. And here comes the call board. Ria, we do also need the shoe of death, please. So welcome. Ooh, sugar.
Oh, got a lot of bleeping to do in this episode.
I know, yeah.
We?
I think we've
well done,
keep
Ria.
the editor busy. Thank you, Ria. So welcome to the Kickpoint Cool Board. Not a cool ball, is it, Joe?
No.
Introduce it to those who might be joining us for the first time.
This is the Cool Board where Dan and I have appointed ourselves as the judges, jurors, and executioners of everything cool or not cool within golf. Dan's quite cool, so I think that's fair enough. I'm a shambles, but I like to have an input anyway because I'm opinionated and shouty today. So, yeah, we're just going to pick various elements of golf equipment, be that clothing, be it actual specific clubs, be it accessories, and we are going to decide where it sits on the cool board. We've got 5 options. We've got ambivalent in the middle, meh, cool, ice cold, uncool, heinous. Not anus, heinous.
And what's in the shoe
the
down
shoe of
here?
death. In the Reebok pump shoe of death, we've got 14-way dividers. If you have them, I would once again encourage you to give up golf. If you see one, I would once again encourage you to shift people's clubs around within there and tell them Joe told you to do it.
Rules. I'm sorry.
Rules again.
Oh, let me do it. You want standardization, Joe. You want to bore the pants off people fitted. And now I can't do rules.
Give me some rules. Give me some rules.
Joe and Dan must come to a complete agreement on the positioning. If we can't decide, decide. We imagine ourselves on the first tee in front of Miguel Angel Jimenez.
Coolest man in golf.
Would he approve or not?
Mm-hmm.
If it's yes, it goes in cool, ice cold. If it's no, well, it can slide as far down as it needs to. Just because it isn't cool, Joe, doesn't mean it isn't useful or good. We're just saying whether it's currently cool or not. Items/brands can be moved at any time. And this is where you get involved, the listener and the viewer. If we position one of these incorrectly, in your opinion, get in touch. We need 10 on one specific item to trigger a by-election over on our Instagram page. Isn't that exciting, Joe? Triggering by-elections.
Looking forward to our first referendum.
Well, as I said, we record these in batch, so we've had no correspondence yet. I cannot wait for these to hit the airwaves. And if we're allowed back on after the big bosses watch this. Okay.
I'm going to send in 10 pieces of correspondence saying you're not cool. So we have to have a referendum on you.
Right, first up this week.
Yes.
And if you want to give us some suggestions, email us. Oh, rope caps. What's this all about? All of a sudden, the last couple of years, we had caps. I got my head around them, golf caps.
Got your head under them as well, didn't you?
Yeah, good. And now all of a sudden, Joe, a little piece of ropes appeared around the brim. Where's that come from, firstly, before we decide whether we like it or not?
I don't know where its cultural origins are, but I think you're getting yourself in a flap about this. You get in flappy about hats in general. You got flappy about those ones with the big block letters for a while. Remember that?
Did you see the ones at the Masters that just said egg salad?
Yeah.
Who wears a hat that just says egg salad?
The guy behind the 16th tee all
What the
week.
hell are you doing?
Yeah, I may be on board there. I don't think that's necessarily cool. Don't know the cultural origins of the rope. I like the rope.
I like the rope.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't think they're cool.
You don't?
No, I think they're high meh. Like, I don't have an opinion either way. I just think I'm like, yeah, whatever. I just don't... It bugs me that they've suddenly appeared and I don't know why. I just need an answer, I think, and I'd get over it pretty quickly.
Well, I own 3 colours of the hat you've selected there.
I selected the Adidas Sunday Pins hat, which is corduroy anyway, which I love. That's cool.
Yeah.
Corduroy hat is cool, but we're just talking about the rope here, which has a little rope around the brim. You look good in it as well.
I'd like to put a case for it to going just into cool. I'm not saying it's the coolest thing out there. I think it's got a little bit more about it than a standard hat. I've never seen anyone other than myself in the mirror, particular goons wearing a rope hat. I find that to be...
Yeah. It's actually worn by quite cultured people broadly.
Yeah, which I think gives it the little... But I could be swayed. We could go and play golf tomorrow and I see some absolute clown of a man rocking.
There will be some clowns around tomorrow. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
we are playing golf tomorrow.
We are playing golf. Would you accept local?
I can accept Hank. So for those watching and listening, the lower down its column it is, the lower it is in that column. Yeah, that makes sense. I.e., it's only just in that column.
So if you're in the top of cool, you're bordering on ice cold. But if you're in the bottom of cool, you can easily slip into meh.
I'm going to hang it right off the bottom of cool.
I think
off the very, very edge.
I'm happy with that.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I'm fine with that.
While I go and pin that up, Joe, I'll get you started on the next category. 7 woods.
7 woods. I think on the whole, cool. Again, it's player dependent, Dan, like we know about the equipment industry in general. I think for a long period of time, there was a whole sort of toxic masculinity and macho thing around
100%.
7 woods, and they're for girls, they're for seniors, they're for slow swing speeds. Now, all of a sudden, your Dustin Johnsons of the world, really high speed players. I'm trying to think of some other 7 wood players. Tommy, even 9 wood, Tyrrell Hatton, players like that, high speed, top level players, chucking in the 7 wood. Right now, I think it's cool.
I totally agree. I have one. No, but I think it's a cultured brain. It's got rid of the chimp brain of, oh no, this is for women and for old men. No, I can't use that. I'll stick to my 4 iron.
This character, what's he called?
I don't know, but I don't like him very
Roger.
much. He sort of sounds like James Acaster a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't like, I can't use it. I'm just going to use my 3 iron because I'm not a woman. You could do with a 7 wood, mate. Correct. So if you have got over that chimp brain and have put it in your bag and have gone, I'm class with this.
You've adopted quite a cool mentality.
Correct. It's a cool thing to fight against that. It may become, uncool soon because it might, I don't know. I think
it might be one of those things that people just go, oh, I saw so-and-so using this, I'm going to use it. You might have no, I don't think people are just chucking one in yet because they've seen other people doing it.
They're doing it because they need it.
Yeah, it's a necessity and it's an acceptance, and you've got to a cool place in your brain if you're willing to open your mind to such possibilities, which is why for me, it sits in the mid to top
2/3
Section
of cool.
yeah.
Top 2/3 of cool. I like that. And yeah, I think I'm on board with that. So I'll go pin it again, Joe, and get you started. Are you ready?
No, I'm going to pin. You're going to start.
No, it's there you go. There's a pin there, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you. Careful, don't bend it. I spent ages doing that.
Sorry.
God's sake, the production value. Animals as head covers. Joe, animals as head covers, folk.
Just take that off your hands now and I'll shove it where it belongs.
These, for me, are one of the bigger crimes in golf at the minute. And I've got a few. Actually, I've got a few where you go. Let me watch you put it on there first. I'm going to describe.
If it
Joe.
goes up there, it's close to there, right?
Yeah, correct. I think it's heinous.
Yeah.
So we have to have a debate. If you just, I can't have it.
I'll sit down for the time being.
Few caveats here.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one of my dad's mates at the golf club. Nickname Wolfie.
Yeah.
Has a wolf as a head cover. I like that. I got a lot of time for that. It's your nickname, and that's fine. You're shaking your head.
No.
Why not?
What?
It's his nickname.
Good. Have a nickname.
Yeah.
Don't have a head cover about it.
Yeah, but if your nickname happens to be in a head cover as well.
It doesn't happen to be. He didn't just jump on his cover. He went out and got like, oh, my name's Wolfie. I'm going to get a wolf. That's not cool. If it jumped onto his
Wolf,
club,
I like Wolfie.
that's cool. But if
it'd be great for you if they made head covers, but they don't make that, do they?
Wouldn't it? Maybe they do. Let's Google it.
Okay, so if that caveat isn't working for you, but you putting it at the top of uncool, I think it's heinous, bar some of those caveats there. They just don't look great. Like, it's like Rory has one.
Yeah.
Because it's his dog.
But is it his dog?
Something like that.
I think it started
It's
off
a dog.
like that. I don't even know if it wasn't. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's like,
So Tiger started it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Tiger, so I'm going to have a tiger. I'm Wolfie, so I'm going to have a wolf. Like, not for me. It's so simplistic and basic.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have any of those caveats, and you've got I've seen like a giraffe or a lion. Why?
Yeah, and some
What's
of these
it
people
doing?
like,
What's it doing there?
Like their wives would have bought them a little spaniel because we've got the spaniel at home. And I want you to think of the dog when you're playing golf. Loser behaviour. Just have golf equipment. Like, why do you need to bring your pet into this? What's next? You're gonna have a dog that died, and we're just gonna skin it, stuff it, and you're gonna actually have the dog.
Hey, there's a business idea. Everybody. Taxidermied head covers.
Taxidermy head covers.
Patches there. Thought he was dead. Well, yeah, he is. Look at him. He's on there. Right, where's it going then? Below joggers. Between joggers and tour bag on heinous. It's heinous, right?
It's in heinous.
I think it's a heinous crime at the minute.
I think
next to tour bag.
I think there's more offensive stuff out there, so I think it's pretty low in heinous. It's in heinous.
Let's pop it next to tour bags in heinous.
Yeah, okay,
then.
level.
Yeah, I'll leave you with that. So that's the cool board, folks. Hope you enjoy this little sub segment we're putting in here. Again, we've got no idea
Wolfie,
if you hate it
you
or
big
not.
loser.
I feel bad for Wolfie now.
He's done it to himself.
Remember, if we've pissed you off with any of these and we think we're being idiots, let us know. And 10 of
Wolfie, email in if you don't agree with that. Get 10 of your mates, but you ain't got 10.
We will put a poll on Instagram if we think you disagree. I mean, again, let's just go through those three again. Miguel and
So hang on. Let me
Miguel.
yeah, while you're bringing up Miguel, let me put a scenario to you. Wolfie's won a competition to play a pro-am with Miguel at Valderrama. Gets on the first tee. What's Wolfie wearing? Do you want to paint the scene? What's he going to wear?
Joggers.
Wolfie's wearing joggers. He's a jogger man?
No, God, no. Wolfie dresses really well.
Okay, so Wolfie's
He's a
well-dressed
well-dressed man.
He rocks up at the first of the pro-am. He's all excited to see Miguel.
I think he wears a visor though, Joe. And he's put in ice cold.
Cool. Good start, Wolfie. But then, so Miguel's thinking, this Wolfie guy seems sad. Gets on the tee, shakes his hand, and he goes, like in The Office, Ricky Gervais, he goes, monkey, and points to the monkey. He goes, hi, Miguel, I'm Wolfie. Wolf. And points to his head cover. Loser behaviour.
To do that is loser. What if he doesn't? But I even think if he doesn't mention the head cover, Miguel will spot it and go, no. No.
Yeah, potentially. So, yeah, I think we've covered that, haven't we?
That's fair. Okay. Any suggestions, do email us. If you've got that horribly wrong, do email us. Comment on YouTube, comment on Spotify, comment on DM us. Go to Joe's home address, which is down in the description
below.
And come and tell us about it. We'd love to hear from you. Hope you enjoy the segment as much as we are. This is fun, isn't it, Joe? Hopefully we get to carry on with that. Admin.
What do you want? Newsletter,
go on.
Newsletter's class, amazing, wonderful piece of literature. You can get up to date with things we've tested this week, some stuff we've written about, some of the best deals that we picked out. We don't pick any guff deals that are going to save you like a penny. We pick you big saving deals on products we've tried, tested, and actually recommend because we care about what you're going to get. Some good animal head covers in there in the next
that could be the sale this week.
Absolutely won't be.
On sale this week, tour bags, animal head covers, joggers, and 14-way stand bags.
Going cheap. Very good deals. I will mention one or two things that have raised my eyebrow from the equipment world. And that's the newsletter. Get sign up. It's easy. And just click subscribe.
Yeah. And it's like, because we can't get to do these ads because we film them in batch, as I mentioned, 4 or 5 times an episode at the minute. It means what we've done that week is in that newsletter. What we've reviewed that week, what's interesting that week, not what we've planned 4 weeks in advance like
Correct.
this, right? www.golfmonthly.com/newsletter. Once a week is all it is, 4 p.m. on a Friday. You'll love it.
Have a break. What about the magazine, Dan? What about the deal on the mag? The ongoing deal on the magazine?
The ongoing deal that will never end. Imagine if you missed this.
How much is one magazine, Dan?
$5.99.
How much can you get 3 magazines for with this deal, Dan?
£5.
How do you get this deal, Dan?
www.magazinesdirect.com/kickpoint. Try it.
How much will you regret it if you don't do this?
0. Maybe 1%.
Okay.
I don't know. You might like it.
Cool.
I reckon 1% of people will not like it.
Perfect. There you go.
That's fine. So 99% of you will be... if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. If you like it, you can carry on and enjoy it. And you still get a preferential rate when you subscribe, by the way. So if you carry on, make sure you subscribe and don't go to newsstand every week. You'll go bankrupt.
So $5.99 for 1. £5 for 3. So Wolfie buys the 3 for £5. He's got himself the best part of 12 quid there that he can buy a nice normal head cover with. Wolfie, think about it, son.
God. I don't think he listens to this. I will point in the direction of this episode and I'll give him your address down in the description. Right, what's in the bag time, Joe? And we are headed to the kitchen because Chef Min has got something for us, hasn't he?
Chef Min has got a bag full of cooking equipment. And what do you think? What's your take on Minwoo? I saw him in the... Full Swing, the Netflix series, going on about being a bit annoyed about being labelled as a YouTube or a social media PGA Tour player. However, he does lean quite heavily into that with a lot of his sort of hype videos he does in his content. He enjoys social media, but I guess what he's saying is, I can enjoy social media without being the social media golfer. I still want to be taken seriously as a proper player, which he clearly is.
I think what's happened is like he loves his social media because he's young and he enjoys it. And then you get the sort of mainstream, conspiracy theorist, the mainstream television coverage often filled with older, mostly men who see someone on social media and just brand them as that. They go, oh, well, he likes your social media and that's about it. And I think that's where that tag has come from. I think you and I and the Kickpoint listener and viewer understand the nuance of he just likes doing that. He's also an absolute flusher and finally got that win down in Houston, which was great.
Yeah, he'd won before. So he'd won on DP and he'd won in Australia. One of those touted, one of those mercurial talents that can just do a few flashy things that people can't do. When you've got speed, he can do some incredible things that make other players take note and look at his ball speeds that he keeps posting up.
That's when I decided we had to do this bag because at that Houston event where there was no rough and no trees, he could just let rip and it was cruising 195. And I was like,
it does feel at the moment, and like this might change because golfers can mature and develop, and I'm sure he will. Like Tiger was his game developed over the years and he became more of a chess player than just a violent smasher of the golf ball. At the moment, it feels Minwoo's going to win round courses like we saw at Houston, like you said, where you can whack it pretty much anywhere. I remember the course he won at in Australia. I saw a lot of shots from him threading balls back through trees and from over on other holes. So it feels like he still needs a bit of room to contain the power that he's got at the moment. But really exciting, great personality. He's got a bit about him, hasn't he, in terms of character. I really enjoyed it when he pointed that last 6-inch putt. Just ironically, imagine in the moment you're just about to realise your dreams on the PGA Tour, you think, oh, I'm going to do something funny here.
That shows that he's still got the brain capacity to think about that. So I think he's pretty well liked. And what's his bag like before we get into it? Give me like a top. Did you enjoy doing this bag?
I did, yeah. He's a big Callaway guy. A lot of the younger generation seem to like toying around with a few little things. So it's, they can be a little less traditional. We see that in some of his stuff. So
let's do it.
Let's get into it. Driver. He's in the Elite Triple Diamond. So I'm a big fan of this driver. I've spoken about that a lot. I think it was arguably my favourite of launch season. One of the most versatile, playable, low spinning drivers out there. He plays the 9 degree model at 8.5, which, because he plays it in the NS setting, which is neutral and standard or stated loft, whichever you want to call it, means the actual base loft of that head is 8.5 degrees rather than the stated 9 degrees. It's slightly more compact, 450cc head, and it's got a slight inherent fade bias. Every time I play with that Elite Triple Diamond, it is a drive that just wants to get to the peak of its flight and just fall right for a right-hander, which is why it looks like they're releasing to market, and I've seen it as a tour-only option, the TD, the Triple Diamond TD, Tour Draw.
TD.
So it does the same thing, same flight characteristics as the Triple Diamond that he plays here with a slight fade bias, but just has a slight inherent draw bias on the other side of it. It's got a 57 degree lie angle, which is flat-ish. And he plays the Ventus Blue original, so the kind of the 2019, I think it would have been 1920 shaft. Ventus Blue in 6X. He plays that 45 inches to the end of the grip. Why do I have to say end of grip? Because there's no standardized measurement, because we're living in just lunacy and chaos. So you could have an end of grip measurement, or you could have a cut length measurement, which then you would add another 1/8 of an inch to
for the grip to go
for the
end.
grip cap. But some do it some way, some do it another.
And isn't that the beauty of the world, Joe? People are different, and that's fine.
Yeah, sure. Until you try and recreate someone's golf club and they don't know whether it's measured to the end of the grip or cut
I'm going to
length.
start calling you Starlin.
Please do.
Yeah.
D3 swing weight.
Great.
So pretty fairly standard. 3-wood. He hates 3-woods.
Why?
He's just never got on with them, he said. He really struggles to find 3-woods that he likes. He's gone on several occasions where I've seen him not play a 3-wood, and he'll just play a longer iron or just go from driver to a hybrid, for example, at times. But he's got 3-wood in the bag at the moment. Callaway have got the Elite Triple Diamond in there. It's an interesting setup. So it's the 3HL, so 16.5 degrees of loft. It's in the neutral -1 setting. So it's playing at 15.8, so a bit closer to a kind of a standard 15 degree 3-wood, if you like. Very heavy in shaft here for a 3-wood. So Ventus Blue 9X, 94 grams.
For a 3?
For a 3-wood.
Wow.
It's probably the heaviest shaft I've heard of on tour on that. But the reason for that, I would imagine, is because he plays it very, very short. So he plays it at 42 inches. So a standard retail model of the Elite Triple Diamond would probably be 43.25 inches. So it's like 1.25 inches short of standard, which is an awful lot. And when you take that much weight out of it, that much length out of it, you're going to lose a significant amount of swing weight. So this, I'd love to know the real ins and outs of how they've achieved this, because it's a D5 swing weight, which at that shorter length is pretty impressive to be able to achieve a D5 swing weight. Part of that will be because of the heavy shaft will add some mass and increase the swing weight, but I would imagine it's a fairly heavy head, or they've done something to that head to get it up to that swing weight.
It's quite an interesting club, because a non-bonded hosel for a start, which you don't see many of, lofted down from a higher launching loft than a normal 3, with a really heavy shaft in it that's a bit shorter.
Correct.
Not a mess, but it's busy.
It's quite an extreme example of what I like. I like Scheffler does this. He's 42.5 inches in his 3-wood and plays an 8X in there. So you see there's a bit of a trend of players going in 3-woods that are a touch shorter than retail standard or traditional standards, but going heavier. So if it's shorter and heavier, it's a little bit more like an iron. So in theory, there could be a little bit more control. So it could be a little swathe of players trying to get their 3-wood to feel more iron-like and more control rather than a second driver.
Especially if you don't like 3-wood, as Minwoo said. I'll be interested to, when I watch him now, to see if, as and when he ever gets it out, because it sounds like it's something he kind of leaves in the bag and is just sort of there.
It seems to when I've watched him, it seems to be very much a last resort club. If it's he just can't hit driver on a hole, and the yardage he's got to get to is 280, 290, whereas 3-iron or whatever isn't going to reach that. It's a necessity club. He doesn't need it often in second shots into par 5s because he's one of the longest on tour. There's not many he can't reach with an iron. So it's one of his least used clubs from what I see in Minwoo.
Seems like a mini driver candidate, kind of sat there waiting, but maybe that would be too long for him because he's such a big hitter. I don't know, but it's all in.
It's all relative.
That's it.
Yeah, he could potentially be a good candidate because, as you said, like his driver from time to time is at his speed, which can top comfortably over 190 ball speed on a almost cruising basis, but loses a little bit in terms of dispersion. He could be could that be a good strategy for him to look at the mini driver and have a little play around with that? That's not a bad shout.
Is that his only wood in the back then? Does he go down straight into an iron?
And then he goes straight into the X-Forge utility, which is an older one. It's a tour-only older X-Forge utility, 19 degrees, bent to 18 degrees, 59-degree lie angle, fairly standard on that. In that, he's got a True Temper AMT Tour White X100. Now, I don't think we've spoken about the AMT shaft before, have we? So it's Ascending Mass Technology, AMT stand for. So it will be lighter in the longer irons. So it might start, say the 3-iron shaft might start 105, 106 grams and gradually work its way heavier up into the shorter irons, up into or down into the shorter irons, whichever way you want to put it. And they'll be in the high 120s, like the wedge shaft down that end. And in theory, it makes good sense. And some people really like this concept because heavier shafts generally are going to launch a little bit lower and you'll get that feeling of control a little bit more. People like those lower launching shorter irons on tour. Lighter tends to help you with launch and speed, which can be beneficial in the longer irons. So that kind of makes sense. A lot of people I've spoken to don't like the lack of consistency in the feel throughout the set, but it's obviously something. I mean, he doesn't go from that and carry that through into the rest of his set. He's just using that as a one-off.
But it's a cool concept regardless.
Utility. It's an interesting concept. I've not played around with it much, but I have spoken to a few that have. D4 swing weights are not much to talk about there. 4 and 5 iron is the X-Forged, the one we've seen popping up all over the place. Tom McKibben, this sort of Japan-only model that they have to release. They're pretty good at that colourway. When they see something building momentum and it's in a lot of players' bags on tour, they're pretty good at getting stuff out to retail. It's it's an interesting concept. They're beautiful clubs, just a nice, very traditional looking cavity back, quite boxy, angular toe end, but with really detailed milling in the cavity. And everyone I've spoken to who've used them, very complimentary of the feel, just really soft feeling. Then he goes 6 to 10.
Love that.
Yeah,
big tick for me.
Yeah, I was playing the Apex CBs for ages, up to 11, which was my little gap wedge, which I loved.
I love that. You got your 11 iron.
Yeah. In a very, very tour only Apex prototype blade.
Is this the one where it's like nothing on the back apart from the chevron?
The little chevron.
They
so it's
look
got
unbelievable.
Really fine milling in the back as well. It's got that little chevron logo. Again, similar to that 4 and 5 in the X-Forge. Quite angular when you look at the profile. I've seen them in the playing position and face on. Quite boxy, quite angular. So that's obviously a look that he goes for in his irons. Now, maybe the sole is one of the more interesting points on these for me. So they've got a much wider sole than, say, the Apex MB, the retail version, and there's a lot more going on in terms of the grind or topography or shaping of the sole. So there's quite a lot of trailing edge relief. There's a pre-worn leading edge. It's not. It's a kind of softer version of the Tour VT sole from Strixon. So raised back. Very much the lowest point of the sole in the middle, acting like a rudder and helping it to slide through the turf for turf interaction. And I'm seeing a lot of this at the moment where Phil Mickelson, which we'll talk about soon, where he's just ground the soles of his irons to death to improve turf interaction, loads of heel relief, loads of toe relief, pre-worn leading edge, taking stuff off the back. And I said this to you right at the start of the pod. Remember when I sat down with Matt Bovey from TaylorMade, we're talking about the P7 CB iron release, and I just burnt his ears off at dinner saying, this is lovely, all well and good. Lovely iron, really like, probably going to play it, love it.
Great.
When are we going to have bounce and grind options in irons? We can do whatever we want in wedges. When, like I said at the time, you could have a guy with 10-degree descending angle, really steep player into the turf. He's having to play pretty similar bounce if he wants to play, or he's having to play identical bounce if they want a particular model, to someone who's a real sweeper and who picks it off the top there. You can't just go and say, I need the P7 CBs or whatever, the Apex in this example, but I'm a digger. I'm really steep, so I need the high bounce options. I feel that, if we're looking for little advances in golf,
that sounds like a big one that could come soon.
Feels like, and the more I watch all these tour players and better players, the attention to the sole of their irons has never been greater for me. I remember playing the Wales Open one year. European Tour event with Alistair Forsyth, a Scottish player. He was a TaylorMade player at the time, and I think he had the RSI TP irons. And I looked at the soles of his, and they were all rusty because he'd done his own grind job on those. And that was really the first time I saw that. And I asked him about it. He's like, yeah, I found them getting stuck in the turf before, and now they slip through lovely. And that got my brain. And now I just see so many pros with a custom grind on their irons. So it can't be long before that starts to translate into retail.
And there's another, and it feels like it's cropped up a lot on the last few episodes. Golf ball driver model QI10 Dart, the TP5 that we don't quite understand or know about, and sole grinding that just aren't available to us yet. And like we talk about having to roll the driver. We've done this a couple of times, I know, but like bifurcation was there as an option, right? And it basically already exists. So why didn't they just do it anyway?
Yeah.
Why can't we have that? People, let us know.
We could go down that route, couldn't we? Yeah,
we could.
Those irons anyway. He plays. So it'd be I think that we might see those. That might be a very early prototype of the next blade from.
Oh God, if they look like that, it's a good start. You know when you see a concept,
big sellers, weren't they?
You know when you see a concept car, and some brand comes out, they're like, "Wow, that's amazing." Then when it comes to retail, it's like a really watered down version because some suits said, "Well, we can't afford that,"
and we need to put Callaway here, and we need to put the bounce here, and we need to put the logo here.
Let's hope the Callaway suits don't get too involved with that, because if that comes out as it looks, oof.
Off the shelves, it shall fly. Yeah, Nippon Modus 125X, kind of a mid-launch, mid-spin shaft into his wedges. Use a 50-degree 10S in Opus. I've been using Opus wedges all year. I think they're brilliant. Some of the best shapes I've seen on wedges for ages. That 10S, it's kind of a fullish sole, no real heel or toe relief, because he's using that mainly for full shots. He's not opening, closing. It's not a manipulating kind of a wedge. One strong in loft, which I never like to see because it adds offset.
Yes, I spoke about this.
Yeah, and I hate that look, but obviously that's just a pure visual thing. He might not be bothered about that at all. Goes down into the Modus 120 stiff shaft, so softer in flex. A little bit lighter, obviously, as well, which, again, not controversial, but a lot of players like to go a little bit heavier in their wedge shafts so they can feel it more. He's not.
There's no standardisation. It should be standard.
That's
Everyone
the problem,
should have
Dan.
the same thing.
These people are allowed to do what they want.
Exterminate.
And then he goes away from Callaway for a little bit. So he goes
There's always one. There's
into
always
a Vokey
one.
SM10 5608, the M grind. So that's one for the manipulators. I think, amongst other things, it's been said it stands for manipulation, if you like. So loads of heel and toe relief, opening it, close it, lay it back, and you get it.
And he is a genius around the greens, isn't
Loves
he?
a bit of
He
his-
can hole out from anywhere, and he'll often do it in the most creative, most
Dr.
aesthetic-
Chipinski, he called himself, didn't he?
100%. And he does, and he just does it in such a creative way. Every time the coverage goes to him, sort of stood up a bunker face, like with his shoulders pointing at the sky. You know something fun's going to happen.
It's
and
often
I
out
love
of
that.
necessity, yeah. And then into his lob wedge, 60 T grind, Vokey, again, Wedgeworks. So a special Wedgeworks one, not the retail one. T grind, so very low in actual and effective bounce, loads of heel and toe relief. So Scotty Scheffler, there's a big following for the T grind, as we spoke about. There's loads of people in this wedge, and that doesn't seem to be diminishing. It seems to have some sort of magic formula with very tight tour surfaces that they pitch off. Super popular, as I said. Modus 120S shaft again. So like almost everyone, going a little bit softer in those wedge shafts because you're not loading them as much as you would in your full swing. Take note, everyone, if you haven't already. Odyssey O-Works, one wide putter, 35 inches, 3 degrees of loft, 71 degree lie angle, E3 in swing weight, which is quite heavy. And I was doing some looking on the Getty images, on the line. On the line. And he's got a Golf Pride putter grip that I've not seen. It's either very old and I missed it years ago and he's got a stash of them, or it's something new that would be coming out. It's very simple. It's just a, plain black rubber with a white Golf Pride logo down it, but has a really wide kind of paddle front. It looks like a pistol grip, but like with quite a wide paddle on the front. It's not the pro-only grip that Scheffler uses, the grey one. It's got no butt cap on it. It's all black. It looks basically like the Pingman grip, but just with Golf Pride down it, but a bit wider. And I've not seen that one, so I wonder whether that's a little tour-only job, or he's had one created, or like I said, whether it's an older one. I want to find out a little bit more because I like my grips, don't I?
You love a grip.
His main full bag grips are interesting. Grip Master leather, kangaroo leather.
Is these the ones that are like really sticky?
Really super sticky. So basically, there's like a a rubber base layer that does the sticking to the shaft, and then there's leather wrapped and stitched at the back around that grip, and they the stitching at the back creates a rib. So it's not like necessarily a deliberate rib, but the stitching is slightly raised, so it creates that rib down the back. And I've mentioned my friend Jack Polk before, who plays these grips on our region, or played, and he's changed them and significantly regrets it. I remember playing with him, and it was summer's day, and it was quite sweaty, so his hands got a little bit sticky, I guess. And when he'd hit a shot, and then he'd take his hands off the club, you could hear them. They're so sticky. So like when you get, if you're somebody plays in that type of climate, in that hot, sticky climate, or in a bit of rain, they are phenomenal in the rain. They just, there's no slippage. It literally makes a noise when your glove comes off. They're brilliant.
It'd be tough to put into your bag.
Yeah,
getting stuck against all the other ones. Imagine your club crowding. And
incredibly durable as well. Who else is a fan of these? Lucas Herbert uses these grips.
Is it an Australian thing?
Australian guy. Retief. So it might be the hot climate guys who've got sweaty hands. It might be.
They must be super expensive. They
30 odd quid a grip.
A grip.
So yeah, if you're doing a full bag there, you're looking at the best part of 400 quid, aren't you?
Jeez.
But
last forever. Not forever.
They last a very
longer
long
than
time.
a rubber grip.
They're significantly more durable than the rubber grips.
Interesting.
Yeah, they don't seem to ever lose that stickiness from what I can see. Ball, Callaway Chrome Tour X, slightly higher, spinning, firmer. Ball, I really liked both the Callaway balls in testing. Like I said, this year, the Mizuno ball as well. There's some PXG's ball. A lot of the less thought of ball manufacturers have really closed the gap to Titleist, if not closed it. There's some really exceptional product, and that Chrome Tour X is one of those. I really like that. I preferred the Tour, not X.
Not X, yeah.
Myself, but that's a personal preference. But his spin profile suits the Tour X. Last but not least, apparel. Have you looked into this at all? He's a Lululemon boy.
So it's him and Max Homer. It's so clean. It suits him perfectly.
It's crisp, isn't
it? And he's got that sponsorship with Oakley now. I think he used to just wear Oakley sunglasses, but it was never an official thing. And it became a partnership less than 6 months ago now.
In that Netflix full swing again, that Netflix full swing on the line again, I saw him knocking about at Malbon, because I think Minji, his sister...
Oh, is she Malbon?
She's a Malbon.
I mean,
girl.
they would be a dream.
But I'm pretty sure I saw him wear it. Maybe it was a bit of a casual off course, or maybe. So
he's
I started thinking,
J-Day,
missed
though,
something.
Isn't he? So maybe he's just slugging a few
feels
pieces.
Like a big fit for Malbon to me. He's
perfect.
like Malbon down to the ground. So I could see that move coming based on his sister's association and just his general profile. So watch this space for that.
I think he's Premier Series shoes. But yeah, it suits him down to the ground, and that's a fairly new deal as well.
Have we spoken about the Lululemon trousers before?
No, have you got a pair?
I haven't, but when I went to Singapore, went around the mall, went to the Lululemon shop, because I kept seeing it online, everyone going on about the golf fashion guy. He follows us, doesn't he? What's his name? And we follow. Yeah, there you go. You met him. I've heard him wanging on about the Lululemon trousers, and several other people. I thought, let's go and have a look at these. Let's go and take a look. Oh, top notch, the quality.
My cousins who live out in the States, I think Lululemon's been bigger out there than it has been here in the UK for a while. And he was just like, they are the most comfortable pants, as they call them.
Pants.
Crazy. Ever. So he looks comfortable on the course. He looks pretty good doing it.
Excellent. And that's Minwoo Lee. That's what the chef is cooking. What's this one? 2.5 hours, lad?
Hour 3.
Oh!
This is good.
We've given you half an hour back.
Right, so we're going to be wrapping up for half an hour.
Use it wisely. What should we talk about? Got any of Miguel's cigars?
No.
Right, well, that's about it then, isn't it? Nothing more we can do. I can plug next week, though. So, Phil Mickelson.
Only bloody Phil.
What's in the bag? Now, this is plug this, Joe. It's like we tried to interview him, but he cancelled, and you still snooped around his bag? What's that all about?
Yeah, it's an half and half. Rice and chips. It's got a bit of everything.
It's a rice and chips, yeah.
So, I was supposed to have him in Singapore. He released his What's in the Bag on his own YouTube channel like the week before. They decided our content would cannibalize that, so it wasn't a good idea. We didn't have the chance to kind of reframe it because I wanted to just go into his equipment history rather than what he was playing, which they actually said, that would have been really good. I went, yeah, I know. Well, can we do it? It's too late.
No one said anything.
So while I was having that chat with his manager, mooched around his golf bag for a bit, took some images, took some video, touched a few of the bits, got hands on the craziest grinds on irons I've ever seen.
Fun.
got ushered away by his coach, who, when I was trying to
He didn't
video
like you,
screen that,
did he?
he did not like me. He thought I was a right little pest that he was trying to swat. I didn't like him either. So
Yeah, there you go.
He's not a fan.
you
Rude. But yeah, got loads of good footage, and there's some really. I'm doing a sort of a half and half. What's he playing now? And some of his more interesting bits from the years.
Lovely. Well, that's all to look forward to next week, isn't it? And we've got to explain it on Aftermarket Shafts. For you shaft geeks out there,
You shaftoids.
make sure to come along. There'll be a cool ball as well, won't there, Joe?
course
So with
there will
half an
be.
hour free of your time, go enjoy it. Go touch some grass. Go see the sun. Go play with your kids. I don't know. We'll see you next week.
See you later, guys.
Bye.